All
And
right.
we are recording. Welcome to the evening of Python coding. As usual, we have each month we have a presenter who comes and shows a demo of some Python tool or some library. And this month we have Akshay Mittal, and he's going to show us CloudyBot. It's an AI-powered DevOps assistant. And Akshay, it's better you present it than me. So go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob, for introduction. Uh, Hi, everyone. Good evening. Today, I'll be talking about AI and cloud modern software stack and some of the cloud native best practices. And in this, I also got opportunity to play around with AI using Python, and we'll go over that in detail. Okay. Before I start, I wanted to share a small disclaimer. Whatever I'm sharing, it's my personal research as a PhD researcher and student. Whatever I say, it's whatsoever nowhere related to PayPal. Okay. So in today's world, we are building on cloud, right? But as our system is getting more powerful, they're also getting more complex. What if we could, talk to our infrastructure, right? I'm assuming like a lot of developers here who are who are like software engineers, individual contributors over here, probably like raise hands maybe or react. Use the reaction emoji on your thing. Cool. And so I was thinking, oh, what if there is a way to talk to our infrastructure, right? Today we are deploying a lot of things in cloud, and there are a lot of moving metrics. So I decided to play around with, decide something like create a chatbot, right? Playing with the open AI model and Hugging Face, and we'll go over in a very good details in upcoming slide. So I'm Akshay. As you can see, I work at PayPal as a software engineer. In days, I spend time building scalable systems. At night, I research future of AI. And this presentation is a fusion of kind of like two worlds of my research and AI experiment. So over the next 15 minutes, we'll go over a journey. First, we will establish our foundation by defining what cloud native truly means. Then we will introduce a powerful new character, AI, and see how role it play in DevOps, right? And then we'll stretch, we'll talk about Cloudy Bot, a small demo, within looking into the architecture, and we'll wrap up with it some key takeaways. My goal is you take away or learn something new with my talk today. So let's begin by defining what cloud native means, right? How many of you are aware of cloud native? Give me a reaction. Or how many of you deployed a cloud native application at your work or in general? Just a thumbs up would be nice. Thumbs up. Some thumbs up. All right. At core, cloud native is about building and running high scalable application that take full advantage of modern and dynamic cloud environments we have today. M- The approach relies on several key technologies such as container, Docker for packaging, microservices, APIs for modularity, service meshes for managing inter-service communication, and declarative API for automation, right? The true leverage of these technologies are best practicable. The best practice is to ensuring the immutable infrastructure, managing such as infrastructure as code. How many of you have used Terraform, Ansible to manage your infrastructure, right? That's pretty cool. Implementing a robust CI/CD automation. This leads to a system with key characteristics like loosely coupled, high resilient, and easily manageable structures and fully observable, right? Familiar example of cloud native technology includes Kubernetes for container orchestration, serverless function for event-driven computing, and various cloud managed services, right? So adopting this cloud native principle, it brings significant benefit, and also like there are a lot of like key best practices. One of the most compelling is scalability and flexibility, right? We can scale individual microservices based on demand, and cloud infrastructure itself can elastically demand based on our need today. The continuous delivery becomes a reality with ability to perform rapid, frequent deployment with minimum disruptions, right? often strategies used as blue-green deployment or canary deployment. I'm curious, like how many people are DevOps engineer here, or or played around with cloud, or did some, deployed your application to cloud. Uh, cool. So everybody is trying to move, like leading to faster time to market with new features. With raise in AI, right? It's going super fast. Automation in particular through IAC, that infrastructure as code, is drastically reducing manual errors. I have used Terraform to write and kind of create and deploy all my services to AWS in the past, GCP in the past. It's super useful. Less errors, which enables us to, kind of use infrastructure as code to make less, reduce those errors, and even like controlling everything and having a version control around it. It's super easy when, to do some automated security checks or environment provisioning. Furthermore, right, observability is enhanced through central logging, metrics, and tracing, provide deep insight of the system's health and performance, enabling us to like resolution of the issue, leading to an improved system reliability. And finally, cloud native architecture promote resilience through fault isolation, ensuring that the problem is one part and the system doesn't cascade and impact the whole, right? So example, a typical, as I mentioned, like a modern stack, who have used Kubernetes here to kind of orchestrate for orchestration of container across the cluster. I see some answers. I'm looking at chat too, but that's cool. And some of the application like serverless app functions, AWS Lambda is a good example, right? For on-demand execution. All these items, like all the services pieced together, form a cloud native stack, enabling team to deploy scalable application that can adapt to change in like sudden change, right? Like Black Friday, right? The infrastructure need to be very strong, right? Just imagine Amazon going down could cost them millions, right? So they are cloud native. They try to be cloud native. Everybody's trying to be cloud native to make sure everything is highly scalable and intelligent today. So now let's focus on how AI is revolutionizing the world of cloud native. Somebody's calling, like a lot of people are calling this as DevOps 2.0, right? The primary role of AI in machine learning is DevOps to automate and significantly optimize our software delivery and operation processes. This leads to rise of something called AI ops, which leverage predictive analytics for tasks like monitoring, detecting anomaly, proactively and intelligently managing auto scaling. When I say intelligently, like based on the set metrics we have today, the AI agent or the DevOps agent can easily like auto scale before even that happens, like example, something is going on sale. Oh, we need to improve the resources over there, increase the CPU, horizontal scale the database, or vertical scale the resources, right? So we are seeing the increase of use of powered AI chatbot and assistant like Slackbot to streamline the team's workflow and provide quick access to information and automation. At a company, there are like a lot of employee assistant bot today. There is no need to ping HR or write HR something. Easy to access FAQ with simple NLP, that is natural language. I'm assuming a lot of you are already using that, right? I don't think anybody in this audience have not used Chat GPT or Gemini or Cloud, Grok, Perplexity. Am I right? Anybody haven't? I recommend you do, right? Very, very mandatory these days, I feel, right? Concrete examples of AI are like AI driven test automation, optimizing the CI/CD pipeline to improve the metrics and do what it's supposed to do smartly, yet efficiently, saving time in terms of like running tests, which are for example, right, there are like sometimes if you write test, if you're a developer, the test suite keep growing, right? If your feature is not even touching that test, you don't need to run. So we can have AI driven test automation, instead of running the whole test suite, you only run the test which makes sense, what the change you made, right? That will save a lot of time in the CI/CD pipeline. And I'm just talking one pipeline. Imagine you're working on 10 different projects, right? Likewise, those metrics keep adding up. So integrating AI and DevOps can dramatically increase the speed and accuracy in operations, right? Like, as I mentioned, running the repetitive tasks like running tests, checking system statuses, deploying environments, right, can be automated, which leads to faster deployment and fewer human error. I think GitLab is already kind of doing it, and I haven't used GitLab in a while, but I heard they have a lot of AI-driven tools out there. So anybody who use GitLab can add that in the chat if they know any services like that, right? So tests can like exactly run like based on the configuration change, right? Whether it's QA, dev, you can do a lot of resource optimization, and AI might use and analyze those patterns to optimize to how we allocate servers and containers today, by potentially reducing costs by shutting down unused resources, avoiding over provisioning, right? Very useful. AI could be very useful out there. Security can be like very important, right? AI can help detect suspicious activity and vulnerability. Think of an AI like a quick scanning logs to intrusion patterns and alerting of intervention, right? So very useful. AI powered chatbot can be very handy for DevOps folks to help answer questions, run commands, and guide user in real time. And this is why this was like one idea. I mean, this is a basic app, but this was an idea behind trying to create this app. So some motivation, as I mentioned, right, uh, is with evolving vast array of tools and services and constantly flowing data, the complexity need of assistant is automate or like example, I was working on a CI/CD pipeline recently, and there were like 15, 16 of those, and all of those do something differently. And there are a lot of moving parts, there are a lot of configuration, there are a lot of triggers, there are a lot of input sets, right? Imagine having a chatbot which, hey, you can say, what's pipeline number 15 doing? Why did it fail? Ask those questions and troubleshoot it then and there. Very useful, right? So that's how the motivation behind this assistant was. One example could be like, hey, what's the current CPU usage of X? Whoa, how's the database doing? Do we have any smoke test errors? Or how can we improve this? How can we manage resources and save cost? There are a lot of things you can do. This is just a tip of the iceberg, right? There is a lot we can, it could act as a junior developer today, right? And use the pattern to kind of help us identify things. If something goes wrong, automatically roll back. One good example would be, imagine you scheduled a automated deployment at 2 a.m. If something goes wrong, you get a pager alert duty. Your AI chatbot is smart enough based on the metrics. It maybe restart a service, or maybe bring it down and put it back up, change from UST East 1 to East 2, so on. So I'm just making an example. You can imagine how powerful this AI could be when configuring with all the metrics and data we have today. So the cloudy bot architecture, right? Uh, the user interface is pretty easy. I have used something called Streamlit that presents a familiar chat style interaction to ask user questions and receive responses. Who have used Streamlit UI here before? It's a very popular tool. I'm pretty sure most of you have used it. I'm going to take questions in the last. So please use the reaction if you don't mind. And yeah, moving on. And the core of CloudyBot is AI model layer, which is currently I'm using two models, OpenAI API for online and Hugging Face for offline. So this app will work both online and offline if internet goes down, right? Who who have used who have played around with this APIs, OpenAI API or Hugging Face API? I'm very curious. I see some. Okay. I see some reaction. That's awesome. So yeah, pretty standard, right? As you can see on the right side of the screen, we user will give an input through the UI, and UI is able to pick which uh, AI model you want to use, whether OpenAI or Hugging Face. And we can also enter what kind of like model we want, like GPT-2, Local Llama, Gemini, Cloud, Grok, Perplexity, whatever, right? You can use any LLM models out there. And based on the model provider, it will make a call, it will take your query and give it to the API, take the response back, load to the UI. As simple as that, right? The only thing to get started is I shared my GitHub repo. Feel free to kind of start it, fork it, play around with it. This is a vibe coding project, to be honest with you guys. Just over a weekend, I thought about this, a full-time job and part-time PhD and a toddler. This is something I just wanted to play around and get my hands dirty in a very simple project, nothing fancy. Okay. Without any further ado, let's get started. Let me share my screen. And yeah, let me know when you guys see Cloudybot on GitHub. Do you guys see that? I'm gonna increase the font style a little bit. Is
Perfect.
it okay? Perfect. So as you can see, there is a lifelink demo here. Hopefully it's work, but I'm gonna run a VS Code too after this. But before that, I wrote a documentation which I want to go through. As you can see, there's this architecture we just saw and some features and some prerequisite. You need Python 3.8 to start, and you need to sign up for OpenAI API key. Very easy to get. Get that, put it in your .env, very then get started. So you would clone it, set up your virtual environment, install the requirement.txt. Uh, I have a env.sample. You can copy that and put your API keys here and Hugging Face token. And then with this one command, boom, it's going to start. Very simple to use. And some of the, I won't go into too much detail, but I created a workflow for the code flow. I'm going to go do that. Here are some troubleshooting if you run into a problem and some contributing guide. Highly recommend you to star mark this, fork this, create feature batch and push. And anybody who's starting, I heard some people want to learn Python. This is a very simple project to get started. And I will try my best to help you out. So, and a lot of feature enhancement we can improve on, but the one I wanted to go is the demo code flow. So here is a simple, like a swim lane kind of thing, we launch the app, right? The Streamlit UI, it will load the environment and configuration. It displays as the chat interface. We enter a question. Obviously, here we also select the model. Even if we want OpenAI or Hugging Face, we can easily replace that with whatever we want today, right? Then it routes the question to the respected API selected, right? And it determines the provider internally, and it calls the respected OpenAI API, formats the message, call the API, return the AI response, right? And here we create a format response and we put it back to Streamlit, and we have our answer, right? Pretty easy. Let me see if I can do it a little bit decrease. Okay. So here is the entry point of app.py, right? Line 1 to 35. And the main entry point is where we set, this is like using Streamlit, as you can see, ST, right? So here we are setting the page configuration, right? A title. And I think somebody commented Streamlit is pretty awesome and a favorite. Guys who haven't used it, using Python, you're able to write, you don't need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Using Python, you're able to create UI. I feel that's pretty awesome as a backend developer, right? So that's the reason this was my first time. I think I was invited to speak at Texas State, my master's university. Well, over a weekend, probably a Saturday night, I did this. And I was like, I wanted to keep it simple yet elegant. So, found this, experimented, pretty awesome, as you can see, right? Using .env to load the pick up env from your repo and load it. We are loading the configuration, as you can see, right? It gets everything, especially the I see a question. I will answer that. So Streamlit, I'm gonna run it locally in front of you too, but I have Streamlit also offers like a platform as service, I believe, where you just use your GitHub to deploy your code. So what you see the live link is deployed code on Streamlit.app, right? But yes, you can run it locally too. Very easy to debug, right? So great. So configuration, right? There is a file we need. I'll show in the VS Code where you need to put Streamlit secrets and environment variable and hardcode defaults if you need to. So here is an example, ENV. This is something you can easily get from OpenAI. Very easy to sign up. One small thing while playing around with it, I think I have utilized all my quota. So sometimes if you do that, you will get an error, which I'm expecting. But we also have an offline model to it. So session state, we can use session state defined in Streamlit, very easy to use again, right? Streamlit interface component, as you can see in Markdown style, it uses a Streamlit Markdown, and you can easily define your background color. Just play around with it, right? Uh, Sidebar, it gives a radio option to pick OpenAI or Hugging Face. As you can see, it's all Python code, which is transploting or converting into underneath Streamlit, convert that into HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? The UI components are main chat area, the sidebar, input box, and settings panel. Only 4 UI components. Of course, the header and footer too. Interaction flow for message input processing. We give the Streamlit the chat input, right? Whatever question we could do, we take the user, add to the chat history, generate and display responses based on using Streamlit chat message and the spinner. And ask bot is something where we are taking the prompt and passing down to the respective the provider. So the flow is pretty straightforward, right? The user types in a chat message in the chat input. The message is added to the session state. The spinner shows a thinking state, and the ask bot function is called with the parameter. And the response is displayed and added to the chat history. This is the most cool part, AI processing, right? So it here acts like a dispatcher between AI provider. Today I have two. Tomorrow you can like play around with it and add more, right? Uh, Handle this provider specific function calls, include some error handling fall. So here is the response generation for OpenAI client. Um, we get the Open API key, pretty much a basic, I would say, API call to OpenAI Open API. We select the respected model, default model. I'm sticking to 3.5 or 4. I think the 4.1, it's free one, right? So basically, call the OpenAI API and take care of the response. And, same thing for Hugging Face provider, as you can see. So here, Hugging Face also have an optional token. But right now, when we install this, when we select Hugging Face for the first time, in the background, it's gonna download the model locally. So it's gonna take a little bit time first time. The model I'm using is a very basic one. If you have a paid subscription or a better model, it will give you a better answer, right? As simple as that. So similar to there, we are taking the model and the tokenizer, right? We're using the temperature token and getting the ugly face response in a similar fashion. So a complete example would be, how do I restart my Kubernetes pod, right? So if we trace through, user would give this input. How do I do that, right? The Streamlit is processing. It will append to the session, the bot router based on what it is selected, right? Um, and we are calling the API. We are getting some response back. We are displaying the response back to the Streamlit. And let's do a quick demo now. Let me share my VS Code on quick. That's right. That's right. You can see my full screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
slightly bigger if you can.
Yep. So
Perfect.
this is too big. All right. Uh, so as you can see, right, as in given in the README, you will perform this step, right? You would clone it, you would create a Python environment, you would activate it, you will install all the dependencies. I'll make sure just to make sure I already have my ENV activated. So I'm going to run this just to make sure. Da, 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 already is required. That means everything is already installed. And I already have my ENV. I'm not going to open it. I mean, it's a free one, but sure. Uh, Streamlit, run app. And if you're watching my screen, the app is loading on localhost 8501. Okay, it's loaded. So as you can see here, I can select a model. I have GPT 3.5 Turbo. I have some sample queries. We can also type in here, or if you click, it's the same thing. So I'm going to try this. CloudyBot is thinking. As you can see, it's making a call to the API. I was expecting this. So you exceeded your current quota. Please check your billing. So I have a free account with them. But if this was not the case, we might expect an output. So the next part, if we change to Hugging Face, I have a Google Flat T5 base, uh, explain blue-green deployment, right? CloudyBot and thinking. And if you notice here, loading the model, that means was down, Hugging Face was downloading first time, and then the model is loaded. Uh, Explain blue-green deployment, user please explain. So this model is like, you want to call this like a baby model. If you use a better model, you will get a better response. Let's try different outputs. Like maybe this was better, right? How to debug Docker container failures, user, something like that. Like based on a better model, it'll give you better answer.
Comment.
DevOps is a programming model, just like baby answers, right? But this was, I wanted to demo with you guys. This was my first time playing around with AI in general. Going back to the slides. So the future enhancement, right? We can do a lot, right? We can integrate this with real CI/CD and cloud APIs, AWS, GCP, Azure, OCI, whatever, right? Get the real metrics and have a deeper understanding of it. Maybe have a vector database or a memory database to kind of remember what we have today and keep it in house and use additional model, right? Cloud 4, Sonnet, Thinking, Opus, whatever. We can use any LLM models to kind of plug into the architecture. The knowledge base and memory, as I was talking about, like vector search for more informed answer and remembering what we did in the past. Multi-user and chat, whole team could be able to use it, maybe integrate with Slack or Microsoft Teams for team collaboration, right? Improve UI and UX, we can always do this, right? Like code black, like a lot of things. If anybody want to play around with it, please do. Okay. Summary. So pretty much, what we saw today was cloud native best practices, use of open source platforms such as Streamlit, OpenAI, AI, Hugging Face, and a little bit Python integration out there. I hope you guys learned something, and now I can start taking some questions. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to me.
So first of all, before that, we want to thank you for the presentation before we have questions. So make some noise, put some yeah.
Thank you.
Ah, you see, you have standing ovations. Nice. Um, Uh, I see two questions in the chat. Do the people who wanted to ask them, will they actually want to say them? Asif, you have to. Can you ask a question or should I? Okay, he's not responding. So Asif is asking, can the Streamlit app be hosted locally?
I think I already answered that. He said thank you during this.
Okay, yeah, okay, sure. And uh, Ilya, do you want to ask a question or should I ask it?
That was not a question. I was just saying that I also use Streamlit when you asked if people used it.
Okay. So I have a question though. You showed us like very short demo. Can you show us something useful or tell about something useful that this bot has done?
So this was a basic demo, just to play around with, OpenAI and Hugging Face. As I mentioned, this was a vibe coding for a few hours. I did. This is just for training, knowledge sharing purpose. This is opportunity. The main goal was to have it very basic, so students can fork it and kind of improve their open source contribution and play around with learn Python, learn interaction to API. As this talk was intended for a small tech talk at Texas State University, so that's the reason it's very limited. But yeah, I might be working on this to improve it, and I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Okay. Any other questions by anyone? Go ahead. Well, apparently people don't have questions. They're shy, probably.
You can always LinkedIn message me if you have any direct question. Happy to help anyway.
Yeah. But let's here. What kind of ideas do you have now to create and train the knowledge base?
So this is something I'm also looking into. This is my next research idea. I'm aware of using N8N, if you heard about it, where we can have vector database integration to create agentic AI, where you have multiple AI agents working and storing their memory, so-called memory, right? Imagine like AI agent is brain, but that memory will act as a structured input so they can remember and don't hallucinate for future requests and responses. Uh, but yeah, I think agentic AI solutions offer them a lot. I have a blog. If you ping me, I can send you more details on those, how to create and train those knowledge base, Eric.
Okay. Do you have other questions or Chris, okay. There are some people talking about knowledge extraction, basically RAG and stuff like this. Can you say something about it, actually?
Oh, I think AI is suggesting to check out Llama Index. I haven't looked into it, but drag is like relational augmented graph or something. Yeah, I'm not aware of that a lot.
I actually use Llama Index. It's interesting. It's an interesting library. People should look at it for sure. It can do some wonders in some cases, but and it also has like interfaces to many other things. So check it out. At least try it once to see what it does. I cannot tell you 100% that they're very solid. I have some criticism about Llama Index myself, but their idea is great, I must say. Any other questions for Akshay? Questions going once? Questions going twice? Questions going 3 times? In that case, Akshay, let us all thank you again. Make some noise, make some emojis or whatever they call those.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Now we have those clappy things. I love those. Like clap fireworks. This is how I know how they came up with it. Actually, thank you very much. Don't go away, everyone. We're still hanging around. We're just the official part will be over. So I'm stopping the recording now. Don't go away.